How about this? I'll add $1 million cash, or you get whatever the body is that you want, and it will no longer be changed by food,
by cheeseburgers,
by cheese. But no, your health now. I'm not going to give you like it. Your arteries won't clog and stuff like that. I'm only giving you the fat part, and booze doesn't make you hungover.
Well, this is hilarious. What's up, Airheads? We're back. Time once again for Puttin on Airs here in the virtual Airstream studios. Trae and Cho coming to you from across the digital ether. How you doing, Cho?
Well, I got some news. So if you'll remember, not 2 weeks ago, I was a little literally gassed up on the show because I had just had a fill-in put in. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, apparently they didn't give me the fat boy glue because that motherfucker done came out. They were not prepared for what that, because I asked them, I was like, I can eat on this, right? And they were like, yeah, absolutely, whatever, but like, I don't think they were prepared for like how much I eat. So yeah, right now, I just don't have a tooth again, and it's going to stay that way. Fuck them. I ain't getting it put back in.
Okay. So you did ask and everything, because I was going to say what I immediately thought of is, I know early on in the days of Two Bears, One Cave, I was listening to it at that time. Bert had the same thing happen, and he had it keep happening. But with him, it was specifically because he refused to stop eating Butterfingers. Like his dentist or people ever told him, they were like, it's the Butterfingers. You can't eat Butterfingers for at least a while with this thing. Right. And he just wouldn't not eat Butterfingers, and his shit kept coming out over and over again. No, and that's immediately what I thought of when you said that. I was like, well, this is hilarious, because I feel like they probably told him shit. He didn't even hear it. Just goes home immediately and just goes in against doctor's orders.
And it comes up a lot that me and Bert, I'm trying to find the picture of my goddamn of the feeling. It comes up a lot that me and Bert do a lot of things very similar, but like, no. And also I still was actively, I rarely chew. This is what's so wild is like, I'm a right side dominant chewer, and like always have been. So like, I never really even fuck with that side anyways. So like I was still, and I've been eating mostly like mush lately. Like, I'll be turning all our dinners into mush. Then I've been having a lot of salmon. I've been eating a lot of oatmeal, but can you see that right there?
No, there's like light glaring off of it.
I can't really tell. I'll send it to Burns so he can put it up on the show. Burns, I'm literally doing that right now. But like, as soon as I got this motherfucker done, I was telling Amber, I was like, dude, something's off with this. I was like, it's not level. Like, it's not level. It's making my resting mouth have to be different. And she's like, oh, you'll get used to it. You'll get used to it. Dude, there's a hole, as you can see in this picture. I'll send it to you. Like, the grinding that had already started on the top of this thing from where just, I guess, when I was asleep, like, it was not put in there correctly. And I'm not going to say my dentist out loud, and they're fine people. And I'm certain this is just an easy mistake. But when I go back, I'm going with what my gut should have been, which is, I don't need this fucking tooth. Just pull the other half of it out, and, Bob's your uncle.
Which tooth is it?
It's like that molar
back in the back.
Back in the back, yeah.
Well, fuck that tooth,
dude. It don't do nothing. That's why that's what
useless tooth.
This is my non-dominant, less used molar, and it like maybe it's like if you use it or lose it, I don't know. Like, it didn't get its fucking pumps in, so it just wasn't strong enough. I don't know, but yeah,
so what did it just fall out?
Dude,
like the original tooth, I mean.
Yeah. So I don't really know what's going on in my mouth most of the time, because I never went. I went when me and Amber got together. I went to the dentist for the first time, and it had been like 10 years, and then before that, like another 10. And I only went that one time because I had an abscess. It was an emergency. I almost killed myself. I think you remember this. But anyways, when they tell me they got to do stuff in my teeth, I don't be listening to where they say. I'm just like, yeah, they got it or whatever. And then I move on with my life. So yeah, I've had cavities filled and stuff, but I don't remember once they've settled where they are, because I don't feel around in there, I guess. So I said all that to say this. I was just a couple weeks ago sitting at the house And I was just eating, and I told Amber, I said, something's off. And she's like, what? And I said, it feels like there's less in my mouth than there should be. Like, that's all I knew, was like, it feels like there's less in my mouth than there should be. And I started feeling, and it felt like a jagged edge. And I was like, oh, the filling, I had a filling right here, and it must have just popped out, this little filling. Okay, no big deal. I get to the dentist, I tell them that, and they're like, is that what you think happened? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, no, half your tooth fell out. You didn't even have a filling there. What are you talking about? Just half of your tooth is gone. And I was like, which half? And they were like, the top half. And I was like, duh. But, you know.
I didn't even know that could happen. You just said duh, but in my head, well, that also is super wild. But in my head, I would think that it would be easier to break a tooth sort of down the vertically and then lose half of it that way instead of breaking it off at the.
Well, but to me, it's
as far as you did, it didn't get like ground down. Is that a thing that can happen? Like it broke off and you swallowed it and pooped it out later, and you never felt none of that.
No, and dude, and like,
that seems wild to me. I mean, I believe it. I believe you. I'm just saying that's crazy.
And dude, how about this? Like, it wasn't hurting me at all. Like, I was like, well, shit. And so naturally, I wasn't gonna do nothing about it, right? But Amber was like, baby, we're going to Tahoe this weekend, and sure as shit, you'll get to Tahoe and it'll start hurting. And I was like, and honestly, regardless of how it's panned out, she is correct that you should always take care of things. Not saying that she's not. But I do that, and my mouth was in excruciating pain for the entire time up until very recently, because again, this thing was not correct in my mouth. And every time I bit down, my mouth has just bled for 2 weeks, because when I bite down, it just bites my jaw, because my tooth is in a different place than it used to be, and my jaw's in the way, and I don't know how to chew any other way. But anyways, yeah, it don't hurt right now. It don't hurt. It feels fine. But I have to have a root canal anyway. So when I go in to get my root canal on a completely different sector of my mouth, I'll just have them pull what's left of this motherfucker out.
You just old bald-headed, tooth-pooping son of a bitch, ain't you? I've been sitting here waiting on you to finish just so I could say that stupid fucking sentence for a while now.
Oh, say it one more time.
You just an old bald-headed, tooth-pooping son of a bitch.
Pay my bills.
Yeah, he pays his bills.
God. Oh, God. I'm sorry if I thought I'd already told that first part, but yeah. So anyways, it was gold, though. So, I mean, surely they going to give me my money back, right? Don't you think? Like, if it didn't last for 2 weeks.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. You white. I'm sure if you committed to getting your money back, you probably can.
That's true, but I'm not going to. Oh, Amber will commit. That's fine.
Right, there you go. Yeah, white woman is what you really want in that scenario.
Speaking of white women, and I really don't mean that to be funny, but I do think that we should say rest in peace, James Vanderbeek. Just heard the news right before.
What? James Vanderbeek died?
Yeah, you didn't hear that?
No.
Yeah, he's been sick.
What?
Cancer.
I think I did know that he had some kind of cancer, but I didn't know he was.
The story is fucked up. Like, it's not like he had a specifically fucked up type of cancer. All cancer's fucked up. I wrote about it in, this is a shitty plug, at CoreyWritesForYou.com. My diary mentions some of this, so go check that out, asshole. Him having cancer is one thing, but like the reason I found out that he had cancer was because Paul Walter Hauser went on Instagram and announced that he had joined Cameo, and I thought, well, that's weird. I'm on Cameo, but I was like, he's a fucking Oscar nominated, like what? And then, but I read in the caption, he was doing it to help pay for James Vanderbeek's cancer treatments because he found out.
I heard about that too. That Vanderbeek, couldn't afford his own. Because I remember people being like, "This country sucks."
Yeah. He was, and the thing wasn't just that he couldn't afford it. Like the thing that really like broke Paul Walter Hauser's heart, which I understand, is like he was auctioning off his old Dawson's Creek memorabilia in order to, because obviously, I mean, you have to do what you have to do. And I'm sitting there thinking like, I mean, what you said, it's like the dream of any comedian and most actors, if they're realistic, is to get on a show that goes for 7+ seasons and you get the royalties and stuff like that. And who knows what happens to that now with streaming, and also who knows, he may have had another relative that had a disease and he lost it all taken care of. It doesn't matter. The point that's not the point. The point is that, dog, if you live in a country where James Vanderbeek is having to get an Oscar nominated performer to join a celebrity shout out service in order to pay for your cancer treatment, that's not good ever. Right. That's never, there's no scenario in which, I don't give a fuck if Vanderbeek lost it all at poker. I really don't. Like, there's no scenario in which this is like, and that's the Paul Walter thing. Like, that is, it's heartwarming that he cared, and that's beautiful, but like, that's only a heartwarming story in this one particular first world country in which we live.
Yeah, no, it's definitely fucked up. I'm one of those people, I think a lot of people are, where it's like, I just always assume anybody that people know and also are on TV.
Right. Well, if you're famous enough to be in the lexicon for this long.
Have been on TV even. Right. I'm saying, even if it ain't been for decades at this point, in my head, that person's, just rich or whatever.
Of course.
Always.
Of course.
But there's so much variability. To all that, you know what I mean? Like, it depends on the deal he had. Now, that was the era of crazy big deals, so I would imagine he had a really, really good one. I would assume, but still, 30 years hence,
But he also might have had a bad agent that they were like, no, don't take as much royalties, just take the upfront stuff or whatever. And I'm sure they had to renegotiate when it went to Netflix. But yeah, I mean, you would think he'd never have to want nor worry. But also, it's also pretty insane how, I mean, I know people, they aren't like, I was on Dawson's Creek rich, but like, I know people who were doing really, really well, and their son got cancer and now they're bankrupt. Isn't that fun? Isn't that neat? You know what I mean? Like, it costs a lot of money. Like, one day at the hospital can be $100 fucking grand. Like, no problem. And then some people are in there for years.
Yeah. I know a guy from back in the day who's not, he's like not rich and famous, right?
Yeah, because you knew him back in the day.
Yes, no, he does hit, but not like that. And he just, dude, was like, he just had an accident recently where he literally just was out like on a hike, essentially, slipped, fell backwards, hit his head on a rock, right, and was in a coma for like 2 weeks and almost died, and then is now okay, I reckon. But
didn't he get the bill?
And he already got it. And he was like, and I get this, I'm sure it puts everything in perspective. The post I read about it where he explained all this, because people didn't know where he was, evidently. Like, I haven't kept in touch with him. I've always liked this guy a lot.
Damn, how long was he laying there before they found him?
Well, no, he was with people when it occurred.
Okay.
And it was one of those weird things, and head injuries are like this, I guess, where it's like, it was like one of those, he went to the hospital. He like was knocked out, but went to the hospital. The hospital was like, oh, that don't hit. Well, see ya, and he left. And then later, when he was by himself, his brain just went, and he just fell over. And then strangers found him, and he went to the hospital. And so, like, nobody that knew him saw that happen. He didn't tell anybody, whatever, where he was, because he's a comedian, so he was in between cities, and so he wasn't at home or where he lives. He was in a random city, fell out, wakes up, he didn't remember any of it either. So from his perspective, he woke up in a different place, fucking Iowa, in a hospital, and he can't walk no more.
Oh my God, that's the worst place not to be able to walk.
He can't talk. He can't.
You'll do okay not talking there, but
yeah, right. And he can do all that shit now, because he's rehabbed it or whatever. But like, now it's becoming a different conversation about how wild brains be. But anyway,
brains is so wild.
But he said that the post that he wrote, again, people didn't know who he was. People thought that he'd been fucking abducted, or he fucking fell off a bridge somewhere and was dead. Like, people in his life didn't have a clue where he was and were freaked the fuck out. Filed missing person reports and all this stuff, and he was laying in a hospital bed in a coma in Iowa somewhere. And then the post about it, he was very like, again, he's a comedian, so he was like joking about it and very positive and stuff, because he's just happy to be alive. But then at the very end of it, he's like, and yeah, look, he's like, I feel like in this country, we all get one GoFundMe. You know, he was like, so mine's coming up. Y'all be on the lookout for that because these medical bills are something else. But he didn't linger on that and didn't go into a whole diet. You know, again, the focus of that was like, thank God I'm alive. But you know, it has to be hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Sure,
I would think.
Of course.
And this is a guy that, and I used to work with a dude who was a server.
I'm sure I know him if he's a comedian from back in the day.
A server and a part-time. I knew him from like festivals and stuff. You probably still do know him though. I just don't want to say his name on here.
I know. I understand. You can tell me later because I'd like to donate to his GoFundMe.
But another guy I worked with years ago, he was just in a car accident when he was like 18. And he just said all the time, he was like, he was very, you know, sort of kind of, what are you going to do about it? Because what are you going to do about it? He worked at fucking O'Charlie's or whatever. And he was all the time. He's like, yeah, no, I'll be paying this literally for the rest of my life. He was like, I'll never get it paid off. But I also learned from him what you can do.
Pay the minimum.
Right. But even the minimum, like you could, because he had done this, because he was in a real bad car wreck, had whatever, $200,000 or whatever it was, total medical bills from when he was 18. And his minimum payment per month was supposed to be, I don't know, a couple $100 or something like that. And he's 18 or 19 years old. And he told him, he was like, well, look, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, right. He's like, I don't know what to tell you, but like, I don't have that. You know, and they were like, essentially, the way he told it, essentially, they were like, well, what can you give us? He's like, I don't know, $10 or whatever. And they were like, okay, fine, we'll take $10 a month. And then his like minimum payment became $10 a month, and he just pays
should have said
$10 a month. And I don't know if it was 10 literally, but he, you know, pays that in perpetuity for the rest of his life. Although I'm sure at some point they came back around, I would imagine.
Sure.
Like, hey, we're gonna need to revisit that. But apparently you can negotiate that shit to almost anything because they take whatever something. They want something. Something is better than nothing. So
and at this point they can't legally repo your liver. But dude, when you were saying that, I'm a little I'm not insanely high, but I've had some of Soul today. So it's got me in my head a little bit. When are debtors prisons coming back? Because like, you're right that they're like, what are you going to do? But see, back in the day, like you would just go, and don't get me wrong. I know that technically you still go to jail nowadays a lot of times just for being poor, but like there's workarounds to where it was like, oh, he was on somebody's property taking a poop, you know? But like used to, debtors prisons was a thing. And like, when is that going to happen? We're trending that way, aren't we?
Yeah, probably. Or especially with like parts, you know, I think it'll be like, probably that, you know, that the most recent season of Black Mirror, the first episode,
right?
I think Chris O'Dowd is in it, right?
Yes.
Where his wife has to get an organ transplant or something, but it's in the future and the organ is synthetic, so it's from a medical company,
right?
And
that can dissolve it.
They only offer it on a subscription service,
yeah.
And so then when they can't afford, and they keep raising the price when they can't afford to pay it, they're like, okay, well, you know, you can just give that back, right? Or, you know, then
right.
You don't have to pay it anymore. And he's like, but she'll die. And they're like, yeah, but you know, it's either that or you pay the premium package, which includes life for your
oxygen, all that shit.
I think that type of thing, like 100% is going to happen, you know?
Because I mean, like we like to think of, you know, Charles Dickens as being ancient. But I mean, you know, the Civil War was not that long ago, relatively speaking, and he was kicking around then. And that was and half of what he wrote about was debtors prisons and stuff like that. And where I live, Georgia, was essentially that's what we were here for. We were a goddamn debtors prison state. I mean, which is why we so fucking crazy. I get it. By the way, I do think that this sort of ties. I know we were just talking about some serious stuff here, but we brought it around to Charles Dickens, more thematic. And I think this actually plays into the theme of the show. And while we're talking about money, I wanted to ask you this question. And this is probably going to have some follow-up questions depending on how you answer it. I'm going to give you an option right now. I'm a genie, but I can only give you one of two things. It doesn't work where you get to ask me that. I can offer you one of two things. $1 million cash. You don't have to pay no taxes, no shit. Right? Or food no longer makes you fat and alcohol doesn't ever make you hungover. 1 million cash or food never makes you fat. In other words, you can have the body that you want and drink and you'll never get hungover, or $1 million cash.
So, but I'm already fat. If I took the second one, like I'm somehow able to lose weight, but then
Yeah.
stop losing it whenever I want to, and then I'll never gain it
How
again
about how about
after
how about
that.
this? How about this? I'll add $1 million cash, or you get whatever the body is that you want, and it will no longer be changed by food,
By cheeseburgers.
by cheese. But no,
Well,
your health now. I'm not going to give you like it. Your arteries won't clog and stuff like that. I'm only giving you the fat part, and booze doesn't make you hungover.
well, this is hilarious because I know for a fact. I know I've told you this before. I just don't remember if it's been on the microphone or not. I think it probably has. But
Somebody offered you this at the island?
No, but I bring up just to illustrate how much of a fat kid I was.
Yeah.
Because this was completely sincere at the time. As a kid, when the sort of thought experiment would come up of like, if you could have any superpower, right, what would it be?
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God,
yours would be grammar, like being
my
better
answer
at words.
For a long time was I would have the ability to conjure any food that I could imagine.
That would rule.
And also, it doesn't, that
Count.
food does not make me fat. It doesn't count. I was like, that's the, and everybody's like, what?
Bro, you could also be
you don't want to fly, telekinesis, fucking, super strength or nothing. I'm just like, no, cheeseburgers on demand, baby. So you kind of tapped into something like a lifelong dream of mine, an unachievable lifelong dream. So I kind of feel like I have to say the latter, as pathetic as that might be. But I just ain't got no willpower where food is concerned. So I think I have to go with that probably.
I do too. The reason that I said there might be some follow-up questions is because of our egos. You've been like, oh, $1 million shit, I can make $1 million, but fucking, whatever. Like,
but the second one is magic.
No, I know, I know.
The second one is like, it's a superpower. It's not achievable otherwise.
Excuse me. I thought I thought it might go like, well, dude, with $1 million, I've got a family, and with $1 million, I could either pay the house off or finance my own thing. And like the other one, I should just learn to control myself. But obviously, you went in the same direction I would. Bro, honestly, how high could that number be though? How high could that number be before you'd go, yeah, I'll take the money? 2 million?
I was about to say, I really do think if any additional million and up, I think I probably would change my answer. Probably.
I agree with you.
Definitely like 5 for sure, but then even
5.
Even 4, 3, and I think 2 probably.
I mean, I'd
take 2.
You give me 5, I can retire right now. I mean,
exactly.
I would
That's
never.
The number. That's sort of the number that I've had in
always
my head.
Yeah.
That is like, if I ever, and I'm about, just so everyone knows, no, I'm nowhere near $5 million. But I've always thought that's the number that, to me, if I could get to that, it doesn't matter what happens professionally after that point. I could just
do your own thing.
I can just fuck off and do whatever and not have to worry about it. Right. If I got the $5 million. So if a genie was going to hook that up right now, and whereas $1 million does not, in 2026, $1 million does not accomplish that. $1 million is a lot of money. It's great.
Yeah.
But it's not walk away forever money. No. Like, it's not even close.
But in our scenario though, like 5 million is not me walk away. That's just me not. I would still do work, and I would still attempt to make my retirement.
But you'd have the option to walk away forever.
And it would I would never, like, anytime I do. We both do gigs where it's just, well, it was a gig. You know what I mean? And I love what I do, which is why I would continue to work into retirement. But like, yeah, you literally, I just would never have to. I wouldn't even have to have an email. You know what I mean? It's like, I just do my shit. There's no negotiation. I'm doing whatever the fuck I want to do. Okay, well, we answered that. I think that's good. I think that there's a lot of people who are going to be offended that we wouldn't take $1 million in cash. But I'm telling you right now, even if I was broke, I would still take the second. I swear to God. But let me real quick defend fat young you, okay? Because I don't think you nor any of your friends thought this through. You selected the best superpower out of it, because the ones you mentioned were telekinesis, flight, And
super strength. I was just going with the greatest hits. I mean,
okay.
theoretically, you could choose anything. I remember one of my buddies picked the ability to talk to animals, which is cool when you're a kid.
That is cool, and that one would possibly be better than this one. But like as far as just telekinesis would be. Obviously, you could make money on that because you could read people's minds, but I think that you go down a very dark path that way. Like you're going to end up being
technically, and I think
that's just moving stuff. That's just moving stuff, right?
Telekinesis is moving things in your mind.
You're right.
Telepathy is listening to people and controlling people's minds. I wouldn't want that one. I would refuse that power.
Right. I wouldn't want that either. Like it would be helpful, but then you'd be like, but dude, you'd have your rules, your Dexter rules, but I'll never listen.
That's like finding that. That's like being able to find out exactly when you're going to die, in my opinion. You don't want to know. I know you think it's like, again, it could be helpful, but you'd have to like deaden your heart so much to be able to like listen to the thoughts of everyone around you all the time and not be horrifically impacted by it. Because people, people's thoughts are their thoughts for a reason, and it doesn't necessarily mean you can have. There's things like intrusive thoughts that I'm eat up with.
Me too.
That, like I don't want to be thinking. It's my brain, fucking its own butt, and I got to be like, stop that shit, brain. But if you could hear somebody's thoughts and you heard some of those intrusive thoughts, you'd be like, this dude's a monster. And you don't have the context of like, no, I don't want to be thinking. I'm trying to get my brain to stop thinking this. It's like the call of the void. Jump off this fucking building right now. That don't mean that you're suicidal. That type of shit just happens. So I wouldn't want to hear people's thoughts. But telekinesis, moving things, you could lift up a fucking car or a building or whatever with your mind, all that shit. I mean, that would be pretty rad.
It would, but hear me out. And also, I agree with you. You don't want to hear someone else's brain butt fucking them. You don't. No. You don't even want to hear yours. But hear me out, okay? You get super strength, all this. You get telekinesis, which would to everyone else look like super strength. It would be the same. Yeah. You can move a bunch of shit, right?
It's better than super strength.
It is. It's
super strength, but you don't have to touch anything. You don't have to make physical contact.
Right. So you've got that, right? Or you could fly. Okay. In both of these scenarios, you are going to be in a government program so fucking quick. You won't even know. Like you're going to either have to work for the government because now you are classified as a superhero, or you are going to have to fight the government and now be some type of Superman who, like, if you can't beat them all, you get all these responsibilities, right? If you could just conjure any food you want, not only do you get to eat as much food as you want, you could have the hittingest restaurant in the fucking world and you're not going to get put on no goddamn registry.
Maybe. You don't think RFK Jr. You don't think RFK Jr. come looking for you? People found that out. Well, look, this is why people have secret identities and stuff, right, Corey?
No one would assume that was a power, though.
But if somebody saw you doing it, like you're talking about conjuring food, you can have a restaurant where you're just in like a locked door kitchen and only you are in, and out comes fucking duck à l'orange and shit.
No, you fucking idiot!
Okay,
God damn it! You still have chefs and shit when it's, hey guys, we're closed.
And the chefs just stand there doing nothing, and you walk by and snap your fingers and fucking,
No, God damn it, no. You still have chefs that cook all the stuff, but bitch, on Saturday, you're closed because that's the day you go to market and you just get all the ingredients, man. You just summon all the ingredients. You know what I mean? You're not sitting there summoning everybody's order. You summon the ingredients.
You're just turning it into like a free resource generator.
Yes, well, because in this one, it hits for you to eat it all, but also you can make money on it. Whereas the other ones, of course, you could make money at the fucking circus, but they're so high level that Elon Musk is going to track you down and they're not going to let you live a normal life. You could live a normal life this way.
Even that, like, people get audited. There's not going to be any paper trail for nothing.
They ain't gonna come after the person who saw. How about this? True world hunger.
That is suspicious. Like, I know, but I'm just going back to the first thing you said. It's like if you draw the wrong type of attention, you'll get snatched up. I think if you're a food genie, I think the government would be. You don't think the Department of Agriculture would be interested in that or whatever? I think they would be.
And Shell Corporation.
And I'm saying
you got to pay off some farmers.
This is the same. I'm just saying you'd have to treat that essentially the same way. You'd have to be very careful about hiding that.
Yes,
for the same reasons.
Yeah, okay, sure.
If you have telekinesis and you put a full body and mask on where nobody knows your identity and you go out and fucking throw cars around and shit and then go back home and play Xbox or whatever and they don't know who you are.
Yeah, but how are you monetizing that?
Yeah, I mean that's
That's what I'm talking. I'm trying to set up a life for you. You know, as
Right.
kids, you don't think about this shit. You just think about what would be cool. But
No.
how are you making money on those? The only way to make money on those is people would have to know it was you. You know what I'm saying? They would have to know it was you. We're going to see the amazing Trae Crowder. He can throw a fucking Honda Civic over where the high school used to be before everybody stopped learning, you know? But again, you could in one snap end world hunger and no one would even know it was you. And we'd be so happy that you could just probably sit there and eat your cheeseburgers in peace.
That's one of the problems I always, well, not always had with it as a kid, but as an adult thinking back on it, and I was trying to get at this earlier too, and I know this is magic, what we're talking about, literally magic. But if it has no impact on you, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Negatively speaking, how does that mean it don't, there's no calories in it? You know what I mean?
No,
Because
it
if there's no
sustains you.
calories in it, it ain't
It doesn't
gonna
matter.
save nobody either. It
Yeah.
just tastes good. You can just eat it and it tastes good and you don't get full and you don't get fat, but it isn't gonna give anyone nutrition or sustenance either if that's how it works. But again, it's literally magic. So it's like, no, it gives you the exact amount it somehow knows how much you need, and it gives you that amount, but no more. So you never get fat, but you do get sated by
I'll change it for you and still see if your answer is the same. Instead of you can eat everything you want and you never get fat there, and so in your mind you're like, well, then that means I wouldn't be sustained or whatever. How about this? Every single thing in the whole world is only 5 calories and 2 grams of protein, right? So now you can essentially eat as much as you want,
but
and
now
you will be satiated.
You know who? I mean, you turn into with that is Tarare or whatever his name is.
The fart guy?
No, the French guy that that ate cats and babies and dogs and stuff that you covered on the show. You don't want to be insatiably hungry, because if you're, you can eat a whole roast chicken when you're hungry and get and still need.
Okay, all right. Then it has to be the magic.
Yeah, it does.
Then it has to be. Also, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it.
Maybe if you have the magic, you can control it. Like you can leave a food the way it is. If you're about to eat an apple or a piece of salmon, you leave that alone. Right. But if you're about to eat a cheeseburger or a pizza, you're like fucking fat cadabra or whatever, abracadabra, abrafat.
We'll get there.
Abracadabra. Yeah, but anyway, whatever, you do that, and and then now that don't have any caloric impact, and you can just go in on it.
Also,
but it's up to you.
Yeah, that could work. I like. Also,
maybe you control the calories. Like I want a large. I know how many calories I've had today. I need 300 more. I want an entire large pepperoni pizza
that's 300 calories.
Hits and tastes the way they all do. A hit and taste. But the entire thing has only 300 calories in it.
Okay, that's where I was.
Now it's there.
That was where I was getting at with making everything 5 calories. But see, what you've done is streamlined it, and I like that more because then you can just assign your value to whatever. I like that because it's like
but you couldn't. You couldn't with that save world or end world hunger. I mean, I guess you could.
No, you couldn't. And I know you don't care about that, which is why we're here.
No. What you'd have to do some kind of like fucking create a endless supply of those Soylent type drinks where it's like it's a bottle of non-specific slurry that has exactly what a human needs on a daily basis to be for their to have the amount of nutrition they need, and you just conjure up as much of those as the entire world would require in all the hungry parts of it. But then who ships it? Can you do this? Do you have to be there, or can you be like? Can you think about Djibouti and be like, boom?
Well,
cheeseburgers in Djibouti. Jimmy Buffett's lesser known collaboration with Akon. That's when Jimmy Buffett collabed with Akon. Cheeseburgers in Djibouti. Yeah, but
no. What I think is you get your buddy who chose flying, and he flies you over Djibouti, and you just start making rutabagas 500 calories.
Turn it into cloudy with a chance of meatballs out in this bitch. Yeah,
just get everything like, hey, dirt has protein in it now. Enjoy AIDS still, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that. I mean, I did as a joke, but
it would be funny instead of giving them cheeseburgers or some kind of shake or whatever. If you're like, hey, your dirt hits now, eat it. Bye. Yeah, I could have given you bananas or pizzas or anything, but eat your fucking dirt.
Dude, so
We'll actually do something for you now.
Tell me, we need to take a break, don't we?
Yeah, we'll take a break. Yeah.
Y'all, if you're anything like me or most sane people, you love your dog. Oftentimes, you love dogs more than you like people. And I get that because they are more dependable. They're seem smarter most of the time. And, we try to take our health really seriously. Well, you should do that for your dog. Okay. Does your dog tend to itch, scratch, rub its paws, shake its head, eat grass all the time, have itchy ears? That's not supposed to happen. Those are not actual normal dog behaviors. We just think that they are. They're actually signs of allergies because allergies in dogs flare up when bad bacteria take over their gut. It's all about the gut, dude. Like everything is all about the gut. So just like humans, they need our friends over at Better Wild because that's going to get their gut in a good place to help their immune system. And that's why we use Better Wild for our animals in the Forrester household. They got these allergy relief soft chews, which is a supplement designed to support your pet's allergy defense system by strengthening their digestion. Listen how metal this is. They're the first and only chews with an ancestral advantage and ancestral advantage wolf probiotics. Wolf probiotic. That's the best probiotic I've ever heard. Derived from your dog's mighty ancestor, the wolf. Okay. Premium blend, wolf probiotics, ancestral advantage. They're awesome. They've got cool things in them, like El Saki, which is a postbiotic. So you got your prebiotics, your postbiotics, your antibiotics, all types of biotics. This one's got good biotics for you here. El Saki. El Saki. That's what it is. I'm a redneck. It's hard for me to pronounce stuff, but it is good stuff. Colostrum, salmon oil, all that stuff. And our little girl Reese does not itch anymore. And it's great. Better Wild's committed to helping your dogs with science-backed, veterinarian-approved solutions that you can feel great about. Right now, Better Wild is offering our listeners up to 40% off your order at betterwild.com/POA. That's betterwild.com/POA for up to 40% off of your order. betterwild.com/POA. Oh, what's up, bro? Sups. That's what I want to talk about. Sups are awesome. Supplements, that is, and the best ones around in the creatine department, however you want to pronounce it. Okay. Creatine or creatine, it don't matter as long as you know that Creapure from Momentous is the absolute number one when it comes to that type of stuff because it is the momentous standard when it comes to quality testing, transparency, doing the right thing, all that stuff. I'm trying to get back in better shape. And I think some of you, if you've noticed, I've slimmed down a little bit. I stopped booze and I'm trying to get my diet in order, but I need to be lifting more. And the Creapure, dude, I'm telling you, it's like that. It's like the good energy, not the bad energy I used to get. I take this stuff. I do my workout, I go on a run and all this, and I'm not really, because of I guess not drinking and also worrying about my health a little bit more. Caffeine's pretty much a thing of the past and all that stuff. And it's great. Okay. And if you want to get your routine, because look, it's February now. If you fell off the January 31st or the New Year's Eve trend, you can just hop right back on now. Okay. Because these people over at Momentous, they source only the highest quality ingredients. Their whey protein, by the way, comes from grass-fed European dairy cows. And their creatine uses the purest form of creatine, monohydrate. And every single formula is made with clinically backed, which we love, highly bioavailable nutrients with, say it with me, no fillers, no artificial sweeteners. Okay. And what truly sets them apart is their testing and transparency. If they put it in there, they're going to show you this is what's in here. This is where it was tested. We care about your safety and we want you to get pumped. Okay. So yeah, I mean, look, you will look better than me immediately because of who you are and who I am. But I'm starting to really see the results and I'm very happy with it. And if a product doesn't meet their standards, it doesn't hit the shelves, baby. You know what I mean? So right now, Momentous is offering our listeners up to 35% off your first order with promo code POA. All you got to do, head to livemomentous.com and use promo code POA for up to 35% off your first order. That's LIVEMOMENTOUS.com. Promo code POA. Do it to it. We're back. Did you know, and I'm not making fun of them because I over in Africa and some of them places where they don't have access to a lot of protein or whatever, they get like a bunch of ants and smush them up into like an ant burger.
I didn't know
So
that. Yeah.
that obviously sounds like it don't hit, but one of them like white dudes who does Instagram and just visits places that don't hit and then be like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" and then fucks off. He had one. He said it was, he could get used to it. I don't think that.
I know that all survivalists and stuff, they're all like, "Hey, protein is protein, whatever." And they're like, "Look, if you're in a survival situation, you're hungry enough." He's like, "I promise you right now, you will eat a scorpion. You'll eat whatever,
Well,
you ain't gonna give a fuck." He was like, "And I know from experience, I'm talking again, I'm fucking Les Stroud, Bear Grylls, whatever the fuck. They're like, I know from experience, if you're in that situation, that scorpion's gonna taste pretty good too, whatever."
I don't know about that.
But so that's where all that comes from, and I know all that's true. And there's also there's this whole other movement of people being like, us eating pigs is fucked up.
Right.
Us farming cows is killing the earth, yada, yada, all this stuff.
Methane, right?
What we need, yes, methane. What we need to do is eat bugs instead, right? Because people do need protein and fuck bugs.
Except
And
the water ones.
we need to make right. I know that's always, yes, it's always, fucking bugs, water bugs.
Oh,
give me
boy.
more, baby. But
they do seem cleaner though. They're in the water.
Yeah, but I know, but they're literal bottom feeders and stuff. But
if they pull a fucking lobster, I mean, it looks like a roach. I mean,
But so there's people saying that too, and you can buy like cricket chips at fucking Kroger now and stuff. So it's like a thing that people are trying to make happen because they say it's just better for the future of the environment. And it's more practical and efficient and everything. But I just like. And a lot of people are like, nah, dude, it don't taste bad. I'm telling you, like I've tried it. Like it's not bad. Little nutty, little earthy, whatever.
Right.
It's not that bad. But I just like, I've always had a thing with bugs. And again, it don't make sense because water bugs in particular.
I know, I'm with you.
I love, but like any bug, and I'm not scared of bugs. I'm utterly repulsed
disgusted.
by
Yes,
them.
me too.
Yes, they turn my fucking stomach. Like I just do not like bugs at all. So I can't imagine eating a fucking, ant burger or whatever the fuck. It's like, did you know that scene in Peter Jackson's King Kong or whatever?
Yeah, God, I like that movie.
That movie hits real hard. Even that scene, I acknowledge it hits real hard, but it's like it hits because of how much it don't hit for me because all them bugs is just wild as fuck.
Starship Troopers about sent me to the fucking ward, dude.
Yeah, but so I don't like bugs. Don't hit for me. And some people might be like, "Well, eating them should hit for you. If they don't hit for you, eat them. That's you win." But I don't. No, I'm not into that.
No, I'm not into that either.
Yeah.
Well, what would you want to talk about?
I called you a ball-headed, tooth-pooping son of a bitch earlier, and it made me decide, or it made me remember someone in an airmail.
Are we both wearing the same shirt?
Yes, I noticed that earlier, but we were in the middle of something, so I didn't bring it up. Yeah, I did a video that should have been posted by now and to zero acclaim, I'm sure, where I was pretending to be like an agent, and I should have put on a blazer and whatever else, but I was like, fuck it, I feel like a polo. Because we have agents and stuff, and they don't wear like suit. They wear I feel like polo is anyway.
That's enough.
People may not know that. But anyway, that's the
reason more sporty.
That's the only reason I'm wearing a polo is because of that. And then I noticed that you also have the same polo on, just a plain black polo. But anyway, that reminded me of an airmail we got a while ago where people are like, hey, y'all should look up this thing called Francis Gross's Dictionary of the Vulgar Tongue, right?
Francis Gross's Dictionary of the
Francis Gross.
Okay.
That person's Dictionary of the Vulgar Tongue. So the author is Francis Gross. So talk about nominative determinism, but
absolutely. Wait, or is that where it came from? People were like, that's gross. How old is this?
That's a good question. Let's start
with
the etymology of the word gross. Well, it's from the late 1700s. So
yeah, dude, 1780 I think that's why people call shit gross.
That would be wild.
I think it makes the most sense.
The word gross originates from the late Latin grossus, entering Middle English around 1350 via the old French gros, originally meaning large or thick, It evolved to mean whole, as in
People still think that.
But but I get it. So initially, gross meant like gross versus net, like your total income,
Right.
your gross income. That's what gross meant for years, and did not start to mean disgusting until the 20th century, so the 1900s for some
Do you
reason.
think it was that when somebody goes, "Hey, you made such and such tonight," and you're like net, and they were like, "No," and you're like gross, like you know what I mean? Like because it hits harder to
I don't
net.
know. I'm not. There's not a good answer for that particular question
I'm
on here.
so
But
upset that I wasn't right about that.
But that Dictionary of the Vulgar Tongue, it's from 1785, and I looked it up, and it's like it's a thing. The person who told us that, I feel like they said they had a copy of it, which I feel like they must have, because I was hoping to find like some, and I had found a couple of excerpts from it, but it's like it exists, and I find you can buy it or whatever. But I was hoping to find like a list of, and again, I have a list, but it's not that long of a list. But here's some excerpts from it. So it was a collection of slang, underworld colloquialisms, and such that documented the language of London's lower class at the time.
Our people.
Accumulated from taverns and docks, right? Apparently, it was the origin. I mean, the book, the book recorded this for posterity, but those people at the time were the origin of the phrase "the beast with two backs," which is slang for.
That's one of my favorite ones. Yeah,
yeah, it's clever. But here's some other ones.
10 Toes Down, I also love.
That's a good one. Yeah. Here's another one. Beard splitter, or a beard splitter.
A beard splitter.
Why is an old beard split, Eddie?
A fat pussy, because it would go.
It's this says a man much given to wenching. So a guy that likes hoes.
Well, maybe they consider her minge the beard, and he splits.
That's what I assume it is. Yeah, that's the beard. He stays splitting it, so he's a beard splitter. Blow the bellows.
Blow the bellows.
Blow the bellows.
I mean,
blow the bellows.
Is it a knob job?
No, it's smoking a fag, isn't it? Smoking tobacco.
Oh, all right. Smoking a fag.
Blow the bellows.
Okay.
Bubbery.
Bubbery, not buggery.
Not buggery, no. Bubbery. Wee bit of bubbery.
Bubbery. Let's say bubbery. Having a pint?
Yep, that's right.
It's bubbly. Bubbery.
The act of drinking. That's right.
Oh, look at me.
I don't get this one. So, Bayard of 10, Bayard, Bayard of 10 toes.
Okay, Bayard of 10 toes. That's a one-footed whore.
It just mean this says it just means to walk on foot as opposed to like in a horse or a carriage or something, I guess.
Okay, they could have just said that.
Yeah, catting or to shoot the cat.
Cat. That's trying to get a woman. Cat like
sounds
cat
like it, right? I've heard that too. Yeah, I guess that's a newer version of it because apparently at that time it meant vomiting because you too drunk.
Okay. Yeah.
So I guess the idea being that you puke on a cat or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
where's
say
Nigel? I went to shoot the cats and he's out back throwing up on a cat. I don't know.
But we say calling the pigs or calling something. There's something that calling up the hogs or something when we get too drunk. There's one.
Isn't there something about your ancestors too, or am I wrong about that? Like
hollering at the ancestors or something like that. Hold on.
Yeah. There's obviously like praying to the porcelain god is another phrase for that, specifically when you're puking into a toilet. But yeah, you're right. There's something that we're not exactly.
Well, they're drunk as a skunk, but that's not. I know I've heard calling up something or whatever. But anyways, yeah, cat's good enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of what it is. Maybe you'll find it in a minute. But here's one for you. A curtain lecture.
A curtain lecture. Okay, yes. That's when a curtain
lecture last night.
Okay, that is when you have to talk to somebody in private, and so you have to put the curtain up.
It's close. It's specifically a wife's reprimand to her husband in their bedroom. So like getting,
you could do that,
getting bitched out, dressed down in the bedroom at night for being a I don't know, too much bubbery.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's a good point though. Great point. I
Yeah.
didn't know they were allowed to do that.
Yeah.
I think you'll like this one. I don't know what this is about. I like it though. A horse godmother or a horse's godmother.
A horse's godmother.
A horse's
Okay.
godmother.
A bitch.
It's you're only one letter off, I would say. Google doesn't say this, but I would use one word to describe it would be butch. Butch. It's a coarse masculine woman.
Okay.
Handsome bit of a horse's godmother. Yeah, I don't fuck if I know.
Now, see, hold on. Let me stop you there, Trae, because what you're saying is not true because only recently, very recently, have there been people who are one sex and look like another and act like another. That's a new thing that has happened in our lifetime, and it wasn't a problem in the 1700s. Women were women and men were men, and I will not have you lead our listeners down some fucking woke bullshit path.
No, absolutely not. No, they weren't non-binary, nothing like that. They just, some of them look like fucking frogs. Big old bullfrogs, fucking warts on their massive. Hello, fucking the right lady, and I. No, all good on that front.
Yep.
This says spoil pudding, but I feel like it should be a pudding spoiler.
Pudding spoiler. Okay.
Yeah.
And if I get any more drunk, I'm gonna put my dick in the mashed potatoes. Is what I'm thinking, because that would spoil a pudding.
It's
you put your weenie in there.
A preacher who won't shut up. A preacher who preaches very long sermons.
Because you leave your pudding out.
So long that the pudding will spoil. Yeah, before he gets done.
Me and you are pudding spoilers.
We are. I'm a big time pudding spoiler, which is ironic because you never think I'd allow pudding to spoil. Yeah, right. But a toad
We've spoiled a pudding for Drew before.
It's true. Yes, spoiled a great many things for Drew. A toad eater.
A toad eater. Okay, that's you were no. That was you doing it. That women.
It
used
was.
To like
that's a coincidence. I promise.
Yeah, that's a coincidence. Okay, a toad eater. A dummy. It's just a dummy.
It's a sycophant. So a suck up, a brown nose. I don't know why.
Did they call poop? Maybe they called poop toads, and that's where turds came from. They used to call them toads because they were brown and slimy and were on the ground, and so they'd call them toads. And though you were a toad eater, just like an ass kisser, and then toads became turds.
I have heard the word toady. He's a toady for this guy, or it's one of his toadies. Oh, yeah. Well, again, a simp, I think, means
it's women.
Yeah, but I have heard whatever. You guys want to Ben Shapiro's toadies, and it just means he's some guy that
the toadies were
a hanger on, a yes man or whatever. I have heard that. So I guess the toady comes from toad eater, archaic derogatory term for a fawning, obsequious sycophant or flatterer who behaves in a servile manner for self-serving reasons.
Nice alliteration there on the writer's part.
Historically, this term originated in the late 1500s to describe a quack doctor's assistant who pretended to eat poisonous toads to showcase their master's antidote. So that's fun. It's like a snake oil salesman. A snake oil salesman's like, I got this miracle elixir here. Watch fucking, this half man drink it or whatever, or watch it. He'll eat this poisonous toad, drink my miracle elixir, and somehow not die. And then he puts that guy back in a cage, and they go to the next town or whatever.
That's kind of the role that Dudley from Harry Potter played in
the Coen Brothers. Yes, exactly. I know. I thought of that like halfway through.
That's so funny. By the way, underrated gem of the Coen Brothers. They might need a plug. Who knows? Go watch The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. It's fantastic.
Yes, but yeah, okay. Well, that's when you look into it, that actually does make sense, and that's fun because it's basically like sort of like an Igor to Dr. Frankenstein of any snake oil salesman. And what they did was have them eat toads. So toad eater came to mean like a sycophant or underling. I like this one. I don't. This one feels a little bit
Racist?
unnecessarily elaborate to me. No, the Vice Admiral of the Narrow Seas.
That's a coxman.
Vice Admiral of the Narrow Seas.
The
That
narrow
is a
seas is
drunk.
between your legs.
Listen to this. A drunken man who pisses under the table into his companion's shoes. Specifically. Why did they even need
how many people were doing this?
Yeah. Why did they even need to come up with a fucking name for that? An idiot for that. Yeah.
At first it was just
it should
Terry.
just be Grant. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Exactly.
But then everybody else joined in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Okay. Let's see here. That's about then an ace of spades.
Okay, well, that's. I mean, I always think of Ace of Spades as. Well, I mean, of course, I think of Lemmy, and then of course, I think of Triple H and the Attitude Era. But before that, I would always think of Ace of Spades as luck.
Apparently back then and there, it meant a widow, a woman whose husband had died, was an Ace of Spades. You think that means like that that's a catch? That's a catch, or something. Like an Ace of Spades is a good thing. It's like that's a good draw, getting a widow, because
but they didn't cotton to that.
She's broke down and
burnt.
But also puts out desperate, all these things that they were really into. I don't know. I'm theorizing here.
I mean, ace, I assume meant good then. Like aces. Right. My dark brain went to the spade because a spade means a shovel, right?
Yeah, and then those cards, the actual spade, the little icon or whatever is like a garden spade type thing.
Yeah.
So
she's a gardener and she's the best of them because you can fuck her, I guess.
That's a good guess. I don't know, but that's the only ones that Google AI is giving me. I found a couple more though, just a couple. Whisker splitter.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the same as beard splitter, ain't it?
You'd think, but apparently that means a man of intrigue.
Huh?
I don't know.
Well, hold on. Whisker split. So to split whiskers would be to make them more fine. It would also be hard.
I don't know. Your whiskers all around your face. That's just like a talkative person or an orator, right? Like a good talker.
Whisker split. Yeah. Okay.
Like a bit of a whisker splitter. That, and he's got the gift of gab.
Yeah.
A whisker splitter. I could say, that's kind of fun.
It is fun. Let's start going by that. We're goddamn whisker splitting pudding spoilers is what we are, and I'm a bald headed tooth pooper.
Yep, bald headed tooth pooper. Whirligigs.
My granny used to say whirligigs all the time, and I think that whirligigs.
Really? I bet she used it differently than it's written in this book.
I'm certain. So whirligigs, the way it was used in our parlance, was just the same as how people in Philadelphia say John. It just means that thing that I don't want to name.
Thingamabob?
Thingamabob, yeah. Whirligigs. Or Granny would also like anything that actually did whirl, like a helicopter would have been a whirligig. We would have called a helicopter a whirligig. And also, we called the leaves that when they fall, they go like that. Yep. We called them whirligig. Oh, yeah, we called them whirligigs. Granny called them whirligigs. But also whirligigs was just like, oh, give me that whirligig over there,
Okay. Well, in Cockney English at the time, whirligigs meant your testicles, apparently. Make sense. I don't know.
Okay.
Ain't nothing whirly about balls, in my opinion. But
not anything whirly.
Yeah.
That's funny now thinking about Granny saying that all the time. That makes that memory hit way harder for me.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I don't know. That's about all I'm finding for examples. I like a lot of those. I wish you need to get that book. I'm sure
I do. It's now my mission in life. But you said I can buy it on the internet.
Yeah, I don't think it's like particularly rare or hard to come by. I'm just people. There's not. I thought there'd be like fucking BuzzFeed articles and shit where they had like curated the hittingest examples. Right. I thought there'd be stuff like that, and there really isn't. But
Our fans have finer taste than that of BuzzFeed is why.
Yeah, well, just because this person who had the book and they're didn't mean that. I just thought that there's basically nothing you couldn't find on the internet at this.
It makes, dude, I can't remember what it was, but there was some fucking movie that like, oh, dude, it was Dogma. It was like, and they've just now, you can just now stream
I
Dogma.
know. I've been meaning to. So it's funny. It's funny you say that.
I immediately purchased it.
I've been like just
I had
recently.
DVD.
I knew that for a long time you couldn't watch Dogma nowhere because of rights reasons, whatever. And I did know that, but only just recently something made me want to watch it, and I got really pissed off that you can't watch it. And I was like, "What the fuck?" Even though I knew that already, I was like, "Surely that's over now," and it wasn't at the time. And this is only like 3-4 weeks ago. And then randomly, pure happenstance, like within a week or two after that, they finally made it available. And I still haven't watched it yet because of what me and Katie have been doing at night instead. We've been no, we're playing a stupid video game that she's addicted to. So
what's it called?
Not much time for TV. It's called Bro-tato.
Yeah, okay. No, I've seen. No, it wasn't a potato. It was a game called I'm Mayonnaise. Different thing. Go ahead.
It is fun and addictive or whatever, but it's definitely more Katie's thing. And I've been playing it with her. And then by the time we're done, it's just time I don't have time to watch a whole movie, but I'll probably watch Dogma on the road this weekend in Alabama because I've been excited about it coming back. So,
well, no,
why the fuck did Dogma come up?
Because you said it pisses me off when you can't find something on the internet. And I found out that Dogma couldn't be streamed because one night I was like, I fucking really want to watch Dogma because I love that movie. And I know that either I had the DVD when it came out, or they used to just play it on Comedy Central a bunch because I've seen that movie a fucking ton. I love that movie. Yeah. And one night I wanted to watch it, and it was like not on Prime, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just go buy it on Apple. And they were like, not on Apple either. And I was like, wait, but it has to be though. Like, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, universe, I'm not asking for it for free. I will rent or buy it. And I couldn't. And like, I was there. I'm sure there's a Japanese word for this. Like, it almost felt like, because Bane had just been born and he was asleep, and it very much felt like I need to scream, but I have no mouth, you know? And also I knew that it was a dumb thing to get mad about, but I was so mad. And then I got mad at myself that like, man, we live in a world where if you can't have literally
exactly what you want right now,
you
flip the fuck out.
You flip the five. So I'm so thankful I'm not a powerful white man, because in that mood that I was in, I could have sank ships, you know?
Yeah. Ronnie Chang had a bit about that in one of his specials about exactly that, about how like we just expect to be able to have anything we want whenever we want it now.
Yeah. Do you have another thing?
No.
Okay, because I had a fun little story.
Right.
Yeah, I have a fun little story. So I don't know if you can just sleep for the most part.
Oh, so again, as I said, I can't not sleep.
Right, but I can't remember if I know that you don't require the television on in order to go to sleep like me.
I hate
that.
Okay. I hate it. I like dark, dark, quiet. Well, quiet, but white noise. I'm a fan on guy.
Yeah.
Like, and if there's no fan available, I have a fan noise app on my phone that I'll turn on and turn up because I need white noise because silence drives me insane, like an Edgar Allan Poe character.
That's why I have to have the TV.
Yeah, but people talking, and especially the light of the TV. Hell no.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely
regardless, I only say this because I've fallen asleep to a movie every night of my life that I've been able to control the television in my room or whatever. So every night, and like every now and then, one of them will like seep into my dream, but for the most part, usually not, even though you'd think that would happen a lot. But like sometimes, but usually not. I just still have a wild dream. For some reason, I can't explain it though. If the movie I fall asleep to is JFK by Oliver Stone, every single part of my dream is a fucking Kennedy thing. It's the damnedest thing. Like and I noticed it, and last night, all of my dream, I was just in the movie beat for beat as my dream. And also it was a lucid dream, which was really fun because I knew I was dreaming. So I was like actually doing stuff. But anyways, it got me re-obsessed with the Kennedys. And so I started listening to this podcast on it's from back in like 2019 or something, but the Spotify did a podcast on the Kennedys. They re-released it for the 60th anniversary of his campaign, whatever. I was listening to a story and they didn't frame it like this, but I'm about to, because I always love those little, like, if George Washington had never visited his brother on that island and built up an immunity to whatever disease, we would have lost the fucking war. Just those little teeny tiny things that you go, if that didn't happen, this wouldn't have happened, and what could have happened. And this is, let me posit to you, if Richard Nixon had allowed a professional makeup team to put makeup on him before his first debate with JFK, John F. Kennedy would have never gotten shot in the head, or at least it wouldn't have happened then. Here's why.
Right.
So Kennedy was, what he had going for him was a lot of what like Obama had going for him, in that he was young, he was charismatic, yada yada. But Nixon had the experience. He'd been the VP or whatever, and also he was like a gruff statesman, and that's kind of what, I mean, I say that's what we look for in presidents back then. It kind of still is now. Obama was sort of an outlier in the youth and hopefulness of our normal picks. So Richard Nixon,
Bill Clinton was really,
he was too. Yeah,
Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama, 3 back to back to back, were all young-ish and seemed fun or whatever. Obviously, they were different versions of that, but they were like young, charismatic, hey, I like this guy type candidates. And then we went back to like Reagan, ancient, daughter and fucking mummy motherfuckers after Obama.
That's very true. Regardless of what I just said being bullshit, what is true is back then Richard Nixon had it's like JFK had a lot going for him in the sense of like he had his family, but that also worked to his detriment because a lot of people didn't like Joe Kennedy because Joe Kennedy was outed to be pretty corrupt when he was working in the FDR administration, the FDR administration. And they knew about ties to the mob. And also he was fucking Catholic, and y'all ain't gonna believe this, but there was a time when like that was almost a non-starter, so much that Kennedy like had to actually come out and say like, hey, I'm not the Catholic, nominee for president. I'm the Democratic nominee for president. You know what I mean? Like, I don't speak for the Catholics. They don't speak for me. I'm just a guy, like they really had to fight it. So going into their first debate, Richard Nixon, and again, I heard this story on the Kennedys podcast, but I'm reframing it. But I have to give him a plug. Nixon refused to like stop debating up until like a couple hours before the debate, right? Whereas Kennedy like flew in early, relaxed, blah, 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 so he could get the lay of the land. He actually even went in and asked them about how, he's like, because he'd never done it before. And he's like, how does TV work? Like, how should I stand? How should I look? All this stuff. So like, he's taking notes on this. Nixon, to his credit, was like, I'm campaigning up until I walk on stage, right? Well, he had surgery not long before that and was still barely recovered. It was a knee surgery. He actually drills his knee like going in, and they're like, sir, he can barely walk. And they're like, we can cancel the debate. He's like, absolutely not. And they're like, okay, well, you need to go back and get makeup. And he's like, I don't have time for that shit. Well, they're like, sir, the makeup team is only here for so long. You need to go back there and get makeup. He's like, I don't know, fuck that, whatever. Well, anyways, he ends up waiting too long and then realizes like, oh, wow, right, on TV, I do need some makeup. But the professional makeup team had already gone, so he just had a couple of his aides with dollar store makeup who are not professionals put some shit on him, and they did a horrible job. It completely washed him out. And the lights were washing him out even more. His knee was killing him, so he looked like he was in a bad mood. He was sweating his ass off, so much so that his mama called afterwards to make sure he wasn't dying, right? And he gives such a bad performance in this debate that there is now, in each subsequent debate, there was 20 million less viewers for each of the debates because in their minds, they were like, dude, Nixon is fucking half dead, man. And ironically, there were 4 debates. He went 1-3. Like he lost the first one, but he smoked Kennedy in the last 3, but not as many people saw it. And their only image in their head was, God damn, that guy looks like he's about to die. And if you remember, that election came down to 100,000 votes. So, dude, without question, if he just performs well in that debate, he wins the presidency, and Kennedy's never shot in the head.
Which is very wild because, I know that like Stephen King in that book we've talked about 11/22/63, like the whole sort of premise of that book is that he thinks that was the most pivotal moment in modern American history is when that happened. And if that could be stopped, America would have been generally on a better path. But if this had happened, we never would have even like started down that path.
Right. I
It
mean,
would have just been Nixon earlier.
Right.
I mean,
now,
who knows what the ripple effect of that would have been, but
it would have been Nixon earlier. And then, like, obviously you go, yeah, well, Kennedy might have won the next time. Like, his dad was going to, like, so it still all could have happened, but it definitely wouldn't have been in Dallas. It definitely would, like, all those things wouldn't have lined up. But, like, yeah, I mean, dude, who fucking knows? And I mean, even as Stephen King, who is a staunch Democrat, as he posits it, at least at first part in the book, like, he gets back and shit is not good. You know what I mean? Like, them stopping it, like, actually ended up not hitting. And who fucking knows? But, like, I mean, again, I know that this is like ad hoc, ergo proctor hoc. This happened and therefore this happened. I understand that. But, like, because the race was so close, I genuinely do think if he'd have just said, okay, give me my makeup, I think that's it. Like, I really think that's it, man.
That's wild to think about. Because then, like, yeah, would he have still done, Watergate or a version of it? Would he have even needed to,
Right.
Vietnam?
How would Vietnam?
Right. Yeah. How would Vietnam have played out any differently? It'd be wild if you could go back and make that change and then find out that it didn't really change that much,
I think
because sometimes people think that's like with our government and these massive things, it's like that a lot of it is just stuff that was just going to happen regardless, that it doesn't really even matter.
It would be
all
a
that
different
much.
bad thing happened.
Yeah. Or just the idea that like we were never not gonna end up in Vietnam or something.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? No matter who, like, and who fucking knows? Certainly not me. I am a bit of a dummy. That's what I am. But
yeah, but
it's wild that he survived that, came back years later, and then got elected.
I know.
I'm trying to think. Like,
I mean, he had most of it except for that one. Dude, this is funny too. I can't remember who it was that Kennedy gets LBJ as his running mate, which, I mean, everyone famously knows, like, that his Bobby did not want that to happen because LBJ had obviously primaried against him, and he's the one. Dude, did you know that LBJ is the one that exposed the fact that he had Huntington's disease or whatever? Like, LBJ was like, by the way, his back don't hit. They won't tell you, but his back don't hit. Like, he did that, and he like outed his dad as being a mobster dude or whatever, and then ends up being his running mate because JFK was smarter than his brother and was like, I need him to win the South and I have to carry the South. And he did. But the dude, another one fuck up that Nixon had, which this is so funny, his running mate, I can't remember who it was, and nobody does because he was Nixon's running mate and they lost. But
not Spiro Agnew.
It wasn't Spiro Agnew.
Okay.
No, it wasn't Spiro. I would have remembered Spiro Agnew because I've got one of those signs in my house because I found it. Anyways, he, without asking Nixon permission at all, or asking anyone on the campaign at all, he said, when we are elected, we will put a black person in our cabinet. Everybody, and like behind the scenes, Nixon and them were like, the fuck you said? But hilariously enough, Trae, it backfired on him because people basically called it virtue signaling. They were telling that he didn't mean it. It was a hollow gesture and that he was virtue signaling. So just proof that the more things change.
Yeah, well, that's a fun little story right there. I like that.
I thought it was. Go listen to that podcast. It's really great. The Kennedys.
I think that maybe, I don't know. I've definitely heard a version of that before about the debate thing, the first debate and it being a disaster for Nixon and the makeup being a part of it. And I was going to shout out our buddies not that they need it either. The last podcast on the left, because I listened to their JFK episodes that they did at one point, and I think maybe I still haven't listened to theirs.
I've listened to the dogs.
Yeah, well, for them, obviously, they do. I don't remember how many episodes. I mean, JFK got a bunch of episodes. It's like 6-parter or something. But obviously, it's just one little segment of their total episodes or whatnot. But anyway,
wouldn't it be nice if you could just coast through life? Well, you can't, but there are things that help make your life easier, like our good friends over at Coast. Coast, by the way, is giving listeners up to $2,000 credit for your business when you get started today, which is spending on gas, materials, and more can earn you up to a $2,000 credit. Y'all, if you manage a crew, construction, HVAC, landscapers, whatever, and I know a bunch of y'all do because I get messages all the time from dudes that are like, they're working, so they've got us in their headphones, and they'll be like, we got a bug guy. We got some people that do window washing. We got a lot of people that are entrepreneurs that are starting have their own business going, right? And when you get ready to pay for gas and material, it causes all types of issues because cards get borrowed and trucks fuel up when they're parked in the yard and your accountant is chasing you for receipts at the end of the month. Well, Coast fixes all of that. So when you got crews on the road, you don't have time for games. You know what I mean? Coast Pay is the modern fuel card and expense management tool built for fleets. This ain't about software. Built by someone who's never run a crew. I ain't going to say his name. Fuel, maintenance, materials are now all on one card with real control and instant visibility. You can set real-time spending limits for every driver or vehicle. Fuel only, fuel and materials, certain days, certain hours. You get to decide, and Coast enforces it. Okay? And your accounting team is really going to thank you because it's automatic receipt capture. And cleaner data means month end goes from a tedious multi-hour project to quick review. Right now, Coast Pay is offering our listeners up to $2,000 credit when you get started at coastpay.com/Puttin. Puttin, coastpay.com/Puttin. Go to coastpay.com/Puttin and see how you can earn up to $2,000 credit. Terms apply. That's coastpay.com/Puttin. Puttin. Oh, fellas, you know what time it is. It's time to level up. And Blue Chew, and I'm talking about your wiener, of course. And Blue Chew just dropped something crazy. I'm talking about next level, gold-plated, ding-dong energy, baby. Blue Chew Gold. Are you out there? Were you like me? Were you like, dude, Blue Chew's already making my wiener pretty darn hard. I don't see how it could get better. Well, they figured it out because Blue Chew Gold is the newest innovation from the #1 chewable ED brand. This ain't your grandpa's little blue pill, baby. Oh my God, we're getting so old that like the original papaws for which Viagra. Let's not get into that. I'll start doing the Matt Damon at the end of Saving Private Ryan, where I just turn into an old man. It's 2 ingredients to keep the blood flow. It keeps your blood flow, keeps your rocket pumping. It's mixed with apomorphine and oxytocin, which sound like 2 things my uncle used to use, but aren't the same thing. These are good for you to turn up the arousal and connection for your brain and body. So rock hard wiener, and you're into it, which is a pretty good combination for getting down, if you ask me. Blue Chew Gold dissolves under your tongue, so you ain't even got to chew it. If you're lazy like me, you're like, I don't want to do this. You don't have to. Just put it under your tongue, and it works in as little as 15 minutes, so be prepared. It also means that you don't have to be prepared in a way because it's like sometimes you don't know how the night's going to go. You 15 minutes, I think I got this. You know what I mean? And if it doesn't work out, you can drive home without your hands. You know what I'm saying, dog? I've been using Blue Chew for about 8 years. My favorite part is that it comes in a discreet package and I don't have to go to the pharmacist for it because I know my pharmacist, okay? And my wife likes it even more than I do. And we got a special deal for our listeners. Get 10% off your first month of Blue Chew Gold with the code POA. That's promo code POA at BlueChew.com. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. And Trae, oh, you're not here? Get you a new deck. Boy, I tell you what, something I've been really getting into lately is my gummies from my good friends over at Soul. Because, everybody is trying to, clean up their habits lately, myself included. I'm the only person that during COVID became a better person, like quit smoking, quit drinking, all that stuff. But then, I had a kid and it lasted for a while, but then the stresses of life got to me and I went back to my devious ways. And I'm currently on a no drink kick. And I'm telling you right now, I thank Soul for a lot of it because I get to get me a little buzz on, but I never have to feel bad the next morning. And I can actually get stuff done. Like when I'm drinking, I can talk on a podcast for an hour, but I can actually get stuff done. I pop a little bit of these, maybe just a half one or whatever. I'm super creative. I feel good. I'm not hurting anybody. I go out in the park. I'm not committing any crimes. Just having a good time. And I'm trying to be mindful about eliminating all these things. And by the way, when I take Soul, everything tastes good. So I just eat things that are good for me. So it kind of has that, double effect. It's like, yeah, I'll just eat a whole bag of celery because it's awesome because I'm on Soul. And I've also been trying to build a nighttime routine that actually helps me unwind and not just doom scroll until I'm exhausted, which doesn't work, by the way. Taking these out of office gummies, I've literally never been able to I could not sleep on THC. Like I just couldn't do it. But these are different. I don't know if I've changed or it's just changed the game, but like take them a couple hours before bed is my move. Me and my wife watch a show and then I just wind down. I just put everything else. Now, again, you can do that with a glass of red wine, but even one glass and I'm feeling it the next morning. And also that stuff screws up your circadian rhythm. They're not even trying to get me to tell you that, but it's true. Okay. Alcohol screws up your circadian rhythm, whereas awesome hemp derived CBD and THC products do not. And that's what Soul makes. They make feeling good simple. They make delicious hemp derived CBD and THC products with precise dosing. And I can't tell you how important that is for somebody like me who's a bit of a lightweight. I'm getting there, but I need to be able to know exactly what it is that I put in. That way I'll know exactly what it is I'm putting in next time because I really enjoyed this particular buzz. They're clean ingredients and their formulations designed to be predictable, have feel good effects. Soul is the alcohol alternative that puts you in control of your mood. Their best selling out of office gummies deliver a customizable calming buzz, which I can attest to. I'm not outside of my mind. It just feels great. I feel loose. I feel like I'm just like the whole day washed off from a 1.5 milligram microdose. I love them. I love them for nighttime, or a little 15 milligram. That's when I'm walking through the park and writing stuff. I enjoy that as well. Give yourself the gift of a healthier unwind. Right now, Soul is offering our audience 30% off your entire order. All you got to do is go to getsoul.com and use the code word POA. That's getsoul.com, promo code POA for 30% off. Why wouldn't you do it? All right. Airmail?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's do some airmail. This is from, I don't know if he says I can say his name yet. Hey, gents, I've thought about emailing you for a while. I'm a fairly consistent Skewniverse listener. I'm currently waiting for my son to come out of baseball practice. I live in a small town in northern Illinois. Actually, I'm from the same town that Daniel Van Kirk is from. Right on. And he said me and him had one locker between each other in high school. That's interesting. Anyways, I love what you guys do. I was 3 margarita buzz last night, walking my new pup, listening to Puttin on Airs. I've always felt like I'm very similar to you guys. Other than our accents, I feel we're very much alike. Just to pause here, we had a dude move to Chickamauga when I was in high school who was from northern Illinois. And everybody was like, oh, we got a Yankee coming here. And you talk about outclassing everyone at the Red Ass, like everyone. And that was one of my first... That was when it first started realizing that, like, oh, it's again rural. It's right. Not southern. It's rural, right? Other than our accents, I feel like we're very much alike. Y'all might be hillbillies, but your perspectives compared to the people in your hometowns is not much different than my own experiences here. The podcast from last week when Corey was talking about what he'd do if he wasn't a stand-up hit me. He said he'd be a history teacher. Well, you son of a bitch. I'm a high school science teacher, and let me tell you, it's hard not to tell high school kids that their perspectives are narrow-minded. We have a large population of religious conservatives all over my school, and we also have a large Hispanic population in our town as well. Great combo, by the way. Mentos and Pepsi. Let's see. I feel tension right now between so many of these groups. It's just a shitty time in America right now. But I wanted to let you know, and Smart Mark and Drew, I appreciate having you guys in my life to bring some amount of sanity and normality each week. If I had to only take in perspectives from people who will undoubtedly switch to the TPUSA halftime show, I would probably have to start doing a lot of drugs. So keep up the good work. Also, Corey, I couldn't agree more about your Latinos comment from the show. I, too, have an appreciation for them lovely ladies. I don't fucking remember what I said, but God, I know I'm in it. If you guys are ever in northern Illinois or southern Wisconsin, I'd love to see you. Keep skewing. Well, we'd love to see you too, buddy.
Just want to make it clear, I'm in no way anti-Latina. I don't know what.
Yeah, I agree with Corey.
I don't know what exchange happened on a previous episode that might have led anyone to believe that, but I just want to set the record straight right now. But yeah,
they do hit.
They do hit.
Subject line: Hail Jesus and some formative religious trauma. Dear Corey and Trae, I felt so damn seen during that discussion about whether people who had never heard about Jesus get sent to hell or not. I grew up in a Protestant for the sake of Christmas and Easter only home. But when I was about 14, my father remarried a woman who attended a hardcore evangelical Christian church, and boy, was that a culture shock. I'm talking
hit.
No, that's super don't fucking hit. I'm talking rock bands singing love songs about Jesus, dancing and speaking in tongues, Halloween is the devil, and ending every single service with, "Are you ready to give your heart to Jesus?" For non-religious white trash New England wasps like my dad and me, that was some wild shit. I'd like to add, we had all that except for we didn't have rock bands, so fuck you. That sounds way better. At one point, my now former bitch stepmom told me I was going to be a junior counselor for, I like that, told me. Like she volunteered him for something. She told him.
Right.
I enjoyed that. Could be a typo, but it works.
No. I've heard people say
that's
that
a phrase?
or use that. Yes.
Okay. She told me I was going to be a junior counselor for summer Bible school. During one training session, we started talking about the upcoming mission trip to Kenya. Being new to this group of absolute weirdos, I asked what happened to people who never heard about Jesus. And just like what you were told, Corey, they informed me that God understood. To which I responded, well, if God wants as many people as possible to go to heaven, aren't we better off not presenting them with the option to go to hell?
Right.
Needless to say, they did not like that, and I was not asked to return to next year's Bible camp.
So it's weird because last night I was in a Reddit rabbit hole about this whole subject, which we talked about last week, so it had already come up. And he said, like you said, Corey, but I thought you said that your pastor, whatever, told you, was like, yeah, those people burn in hell. But anyway,
they did. That's what my pastor said.
And I was saying, it's like, yeah, I was told like, they'll work it out. Anyway, I fell into a Reddit rabbit hole about this subject last night. The broader subject is obviously a massive debate in all religions, and the broader subject is referred to as the fate of the unlearned, which is pretty cool sounding.
Yeah, that's what we're doing here in District 14 in Georgia.
Yeah, fate of the unlearned, or the destiny of the unevangelized.
Ooh, we got to go into that more on something. So, that's also just a rad name.
I know it is a rad name. I know, and so like, it obviously it varies, but most of them make up some kind of excuse for it. Like the Roman Catholic Church, they said that since the penitent thief, right, who's the other dude on one of the other two crosses, with Jesus, since the penitent thief was granted canonization by Christ himself, that implies that God saves the unbaptized through a means understood only by him.
Yeah, unbaptized, sure, but that guy still technically accepted Jesus as his savior, which is what being saved is.
Well, they just, either way, the Catholic Church's position on it is that you can, if you don't ever know anything about it, God makes an allowance for you to get into heaven, but it's through some mechanism that only he can understand. So mysterious ways, whatever.
Yeah, but dude, with the Catholics, as I even talked about on that episode, like they get that right. I mean, all of it's phooey to me, but if it is not phooey, they get that part right, and also they're all for good work. So like, I'd assume they feel that way because they'd be like, yeah, well, if someone wasn't fortunate enough, then God would have to.
But they're not the only ones. There's plenty of other ones that, like other types of Christianity, that make allowances for people like that. But what I also read people saying that I hadn't thought of, but apparently our airhead here thought of this immediately as a child.
Yeah,
was people said, but the problem with that is that you immediately point out, it's like, well, okay. But if that is true, then you could argue that missionaries of all sects and all faiths worldwide are the greatest instruments of Satan to have ever been visited upon this earth.
Yeah.
Because if they never did any of that, all of those people would automatically be God's children and enter the kingdom of heaven, if this is how it works. And so now they go there, and now that they've learned it, but then they say, no, now you're, whatever, it's, souls for Satan's army or whatever the fuck else, like that type of thing. I read that last night, I was like, I'll be goddamn, that's a good point. So shout out to this airhead here, because that's a very good point. Yeah.
I've never thought about that one specifically, but on the note of like, hey, we should not be telling people about God, I've thought of that a lot with Jehovah's Witnesses, because like, It's supposed to be only 212,000 of them maybe it might not be Jehovah's Witness.
You're playing against your own odds or whatever.
And it's like, dude, it's like, no, I'm pretty sure they're already full, unless it's like one of those things. If it's like the Premier League, where like
you get relegated
and you get relegated, and you got to come back to earth as a fucking toilet seat or something.
Right.
One last one, and I have to read this one because, I want to, but Latinas have already been brought up, so I have to read this one. Subject line: the most Hispanic thing I've ever seen. This is from our friend, the saccharine seductress. Okay. Hey boys, quick fun thing, or as we call our do we call our Latino correspondent or our I can't remember. Whatever.
Fine.
Hey boys, quick fun thing about the halftime show. The real one, not the one with Pedo Rock. During the wedding, which apparently was real, there is a kid sleeping on chairs and gets woken up. I've never felt more seen as someone that used to be that kid at every wedding, quinceañera, and old person anniversary party. Hispanic parties last for hours. They don't end until the venue closes or everyone slowly filters out. But by God, if you had spent thousands of dollars feeding and watering your closest 200 family members and friends, you bet your ass everyone is going to make sure it was money well spent. The money is already gone, but you can absolutely squeeze out the maximum amount of fun out of every penny. If you don't see at least one kid passed out on top of chairs pushed together, you're leaving way too early and are behaving disrespectfully to the host. Love you guys, Lady S. That's great.
That is great. Love it. All right. So as this comes out tonight and the rest of this weekend, I'll be in Birmingham, Alabama. Come see me. And then next week, I'm at the new Helium Club in Atlanta, technically Alpharetta, Georgia, but Birmingham this week, Atlanta next week, Denver and Steamboat Springs in March, and a bunch of other places too coming up very soon. So go to TraeCrowder.com, please, and come see me.
Yeah. Hey, CoreyWritesForYou.com is where I do my daily diary, my essays, some audio work and all that stuff. And I really wish you could subscribe over there. It's my Substack. If you're familiar with the format, I've just made it easier by saying, just go to CoreyWritesForYou.com. Here's the deal. It's absolutely free. You can subscribe and you can read every single thing I do for free. Or if you want to give me $5, you can also do that. They don't have tiers and stuff. So just, it's up to you. Do your thing. I will be this weekend, February 15th at Hendershots in Athens, Georgia with Drew Morgan and Mike Cooley of the Drive-By Truckers. And also March 29th, I will be at the Punchline in Atlanta with our good buddy, Greg Barons. You know Greg. Me and him, I just found out Greg's opening for me. So March 29th at the Punchline in Atlanta. And other than that, just please go to CoreyWritesForYou.com because it's my favorite social media and I get to write as long as I want. And we've built a really nice community. And I know a lot of you airheads are already in there. So, and fucking, by the way, as you can imagine, Trae, fucking Kim she's now a star in the comment section of the fucking Substack. Matter of fact, I specifically didn't read 2 of her emails on this show because she put them in my Substack chat as fodder to hit for people. So, which hits for me. Anyways, all right.
On my Patreon. Same.
Stay fancy, motherfuckers.
Skew. Here's Lydia Loveless.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Royalty and rednecks are alike. They both like cutting and picking fights. Biscuits and baked beans where they don't belong. Sit on down with Corey and Trae and learn some fancy shit today. We'll laugh a little even when they're wrong. They'll take you to a magical place where if you call someone a cunt, nobody cares. They keep it debonair at putting on airs, putting on airs, putting on airs.